Welcome, my sisters and brothers, to the Law of One. I am Robert, humble messenger. It is such a pleasure to share with you conscious channeling of LL research. The question this evening is a continuation of the information we were receiving on how to discover the gifts one has that will allow one to be of service to others. Part 3. I am Hatan. Greetings to you in the love and in the light of the infinite Creator. It is a privilege and a blessing to be here. As we talk about how to identify your gifts, you have heard this many times, and you will hear it again many times. The way to discover your gift is to allow yourself to love. Loving is a risk. It also puts you in the company of people who do many, many, many different things, some of which you may be gifted at. You would never know unless you tried them. If you go through your life trying to be proper and serious, you will only become baleful and bitter. But we would like to close out our speaking upon identifying your gifts by quickly recapitulating what we of the Confederation have said before. We have said that the greatest gift is that of being. The second greatest gift, that of raising children. Everything is a gift to one who feels the presence of the Creator, be it in inanimate object or the animate object which it is manipulating in order to aid it. Think about how many there are among your people who set up charitable organizations in order to avoid paying their taxes. This is not an identification of gifts, but a budgetary decision. What we look for, what we ask for, what we hope for is people who find that the love of the Creator for them, unblemished, untouched by the human condition, it lies within them. It is most easy to love some people. Their temperament suits your temperament. They are good listeners. You are good talkers, or vice versa. You have many of the same interests, or there is simply the chemistry of working together, perhaps before, that brings people together. But if anything that is attempted without the free flow of love, infinite love, into the violet ray chakra from above, upwards from the red ray chakra, according to the energy blockages of the body. When you sit to meditate, do your best to clear your intelligence of its usual active pattern of contemplation and thought. For those things which can be said to be of an inspiration that is healthy and encourages wellness among the souls of your peoples. There are some who are so aware of the love of the Infinite One that they naturally radiate love to all whom they see and desire to be of service to all whom they meet. This is not the rule among humankind. It is well to consider yourselves as unprivileged in that regard. It is said that to be human is to fail. No truer words were ever spoken. From the moment of your conception, you are dying. You are perishable. Your body. You have only a brief time upon this tiny sphere to learn to know yourself and your strong points and your gifts, and to give them with a glad and holy heart. Now, to some people, the services that they offer is obvious. Housewives who realize the incredible sacrificial service of motherhood in truth. Though, however, it is not sacrifice, for love is greater, stronger, and more joyful, and certainly more confrontative and immediate than other solitary occupations. This evening we would simply say, find your love. What do you love to do? Whatever it is, you may do it in the service of others. Do you love to cook? Try a soup kitchen. Do you love to drive? There are handicapped and helpless people who must be taken here and there. Are you good with your hands? There are programs within your society for rehabilitating the dilapidated house to make it affordable for people who are poor to have a nicer place to dwell. Is your special forte communications? This entity knows that it's her best trait, and of course her worst, but it's honest, open communication at all times. Thus, we are able to use this instrument, although she, right now, is in considerable pain. But her heart is single. In a way, my children, this is what love is. Singleness of heart. One may love this, and one may love that, and one may just love banana pudding, and simply adore prime rib. You know, the words we use are very sloppily, but we do not subscribe to any dogma. We are able to inform you in as much as we know, and that knowledge is not perfect, we admit. On the foundation and the evolution of spirituality upon your planet, you yourselves, however, will come forth from this meeting this meditation, the circle of joy and sweet place, and you will move out into a world in which peace seems afar off, and life is not so sweet always. Thus, as always, we encourage the daily meditation in moderation. That is to say, no more than half an hour at a time. For we can never disclose to you, because of your own free will, the pace you are particularly able to keep. Each of you is evolving, so meditate, be it 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Clear your mind. Some have the capacity to evolve more quickly. The most folly one can assume is to assume that because one seems without love, one is not learning spiritually. You are the one who is not growing spiritually if you do not love the unloved. And we do not talk of empty prayers and dutiful affirmations. We speak of a heart so open that it recognizes within the mirror the murderer, the rapist, the felon, the abuser, the addict, the street person. One who, in the interest of country, allows ways to be rationalized for unacceptable means. As you look about you, the world outside of you is not apparently full of love. But love has an active and a passive form. The most important form for you to become aware of is the immediate presence of the unmoved logos. That's great original thought, which is love. For there is no free will to cause it distortion. And you, my friends, are the active principle of that creator. Far better it is to attempt to aid and fail than not to attempt because of a fear of failing. No one is keeping score in the heavenly kingdom, except, my friends, you yourselves. You know if you love, or if you are merely getting along, being polite, being pleasant, and being cheerful. Those are wonderful human traits, but they end. And then you are exhausted and open to the most negative of emotions. It is in the realization that you are as portion of the Creator, that your ability to love is there to make itself clear. For it is not your ability at all, because your personality, your circumstances, the island high on which you live are all illusions. But that which is within your consciousness is no illusion. Thus, after you have cleared yourself as best you can of the negative thoughts, of the difficulties, of the pocket change of the day, not just in meditation, but moment by moment, you shall be that much closer to your service. To recapitulate, service is vastly different from the art of pleasing people. When one asks how one can be of service to another, either analysis, intuition, or inspiration will inform you. Yes, that person needs help. Or, I know that person needs to do this on their own. This is compassionate, but it is also an enabling process sometimes to allow what is, or may be, before you to resolve itself. That dear soul which you hold within your arms and heart may grow at its own pace. Many of your organizations began in love. Love of mankind. Love of beauty. But in time, this love became jaundiced and truncated, while the necessity of the upkeep of the corporation which houses its beautiful objects replaced it. So it is with your churches and your schools. One may learn about freedom, but for that, one must pay. Determining your gifts, then, is a matter of observing what it is you love to do the best. Then we suggest to you, you do it. Whether it be praying for the peace of the planet, sending healing, particulars matter not. It matters only that one realizes that one's lordship dwells within, as does the entire universe. Man, what are your gifts? Only you know. How keen are your eyes? How keen are your ears? How quick your reflexes? How intelligent your mind? How able your tongue? And how able your body? Only you know whether you are an introvert, an extrovert, a loner, a sociable person. Only you know your own needs. And in serving others, it is not wise to sacrifice too much of that which you enjoy and that which feeds you. Forgiving for giving and giving and giving and giving without expectation of any return. This is a blessed service for which we thank all of you. But the silence of meditation, the steadiness of day-to-day, cheerfulness, the pursuing of work that you love is a great boost forward. There are many, many people who are homeless. Many are hungry. Many are cold. Some may die. If you cannot bring them food, send them your prayers, for prayers are food for the soul, and miracles do occur when prayer is invoked. Sometimes the answers to those prayers are no, leave it alone. It is as it should be. Well, in that case, one simply holds the one for whom one is praying up and asks the Creator to cradle that entity in the Creator's arms of all-encompassing love and light. This, then, is your service to that person. It may be unknown, unappreciated, and unexpected, but perhaps the secret of the service to love is to make no fuss or ado about doing what one can to serve. My friends, you are asked to love one another as you yourself have been loved. You know that incredible strength of that love. You may lean back against it, and you may open the self to channel words to make peace and harmony and solace available to those who are too tangled in their own details of negative emotion to work out the heart of the problem. Each of you would be in this situation from time to time, thus the offering of love to another by listening, by accepting, by forgiving, and by loving is the gift of which we speak this evening. Centuries and centuries have gone by with the entities attempting to learn to love. There have been many side trips, many excursions into folly, many killings, wars, and casual death. That is the creation expressing itself negatively this time. You may do two things with your love after you have found it. Firstly, you may pray continually without ceasing. This is not a difficult habit to move into. As one knows, very small prayers, since one has known in childhood, prayers that are to the point and caring, But of course, you may also make up your own prayers or simply hold a person with whom you are concerned into the light of the Infinite One. The greatest of active services, as opposed to passive services of being, is loving in such a way that you are able to hear the words between the lines that plead for spiritual help. We pray you may have the subtlety of wit, the intelligence to take that information which is important to the other and find a tongue to speak that does not create a stumbling block. While many have been damaged by guilt and excessive judgment in some of your saddled religions. And now you tread a more difficult road. A road wherein you must believe yourself worthy. Why should you believe yourself worthy? Let us look at this. In the first place, you are worthy because you have been created by the one infinite creator. You are an active principle which informs the creator of itself. This you do by living, not by doing. You are of service to the Creator as you begin to forgive yourself completely and irrevocably for the many serious sins of the past. The errors which have caused you humiliation and nausea. It is a difficult thing to wish a living ideal, and within your culture, it is designed to be impossible. So, you, the pilgrim, who seek to be light to the world, will often fall. For stumbling blocks are everywhere. Bruised, tired, dusty. We ask you, pick yourselves up and move along the road that you and the Creator have planned for you. Pray, first of all, that you love yourself. The second portion of the second admission, which is found in your holy works, is to love your neighbor as yourself. If you do not love yourself, how can you love your neighbor? There is work to be done again until the self is clear enough to hear and appreciate and feel unthreatened by the strength of the feelings, emotions, and thoughts of others. How can one magnify one's ability to share love? Coming to group meditations such as this one is helpful. For, as the saying goes in the holy works, your Bible, when 2 or 3 are gathered together, prayers are answered. It is true. All these things are gestures of love. So, if you do not love yourself, or you do not love the Creator, stop where you are. Do not attempt to strain yourself by opening higher energies without the heart chakra being completely open. It is perfectly appropriate to fail and fail and fail again. We are not speaking of results, but of the will to succeed. The persistent desire to run the straight race, as it is written in your holy scripture. Love is emotion that is too soft and too gentle in the way it has become known upon your planet to do that which it was intended to do. Act as a balancing wheel, giving entities equal opportunities to choose positive or negative paths. The reason for this is that your culture, it is more positive than negative. But consequently, we, the Confederation, are aware that there are negative entities also. This is why we charge you with the challenging of all contacts. But if you love the Creator and love yourself, you will then turn to a world that is bright with the light of the Creator's energy. Each of you has gifts, and it is staring you straight in the face. Okay, some things do not seem like gifts, but if you can love your neighbor as yourself and love yourself as your Creator loves you, and love your Creator with all of your heart, then those gifts of yours which are needed will be called upon, whether or not you express the talent. For the community of those who pray and serve is such that the opportunity is made for those who wish to serve. We realize that the word gifts for some may have meant to mean psychological or mental gifts or being physically athletic, being a good friend, caring greatly about the planet Earth and other subjects like this. Now, this is very good for you to do. But beneath all the phenomena of the distressed world lies the distress of the one infinite Creator and the distress of the planet herself. Practice loving yourself, my friends. The gifts will come to you if they have not already. And when you feel an impulse to do something you have never done before, and you feel you are being led by guidance, do not hesitate, but do that which you feel you are guided to do. In this atmosphere, each will make many mistakes. That is entirely acceptable. It is the method by which people learn. A mistake is a good thing, for in making the mistake, one can sit into it and analyze why that effort to be a light backfired. And so you learn compassion, sympathy, the single-minded love for humankind. Not as humankind, but you look at it as the Creator would do. In this depth of love, grinds the spiritual seeker upon the rock of spiritual principles. Now, we are not saying that if you follow your own star, or if you follow your own agenda, follow your plan, the plans which have welled up within you, that people will not understand you or give you an easy time, because this is not so. This has never been so, and never will be so. And long as third density entities gaze upon the one who is taking a great risk for the good, they shake their heads. They do not understand. Sometimes one comes upon a talent later in life, a talent for organization, a talent for money raising, a talent for teaching creative writing, a talent for showing young men how to fix up their cars. Now, we speak of these talents upon the same level as any other. We do not look down upon your world because you yourselves are as sacred to us, as sacred as the trees, the autumn breeze, the ocean seas, as any portion of the one infinite creation. This is the creation that you have made, and we rejoice and are glad in it. We also see the many pitfalls. The major pitfall being that in a society that basically thinks about the self and the self accumulating masses, accumulating belongings, and experiences which are expensive about one, is not going to be in touch. They're not going to be in touch with that part of the self which knows the self and wishes to serve. My sisters and brothers, to find your true gift is one thing that is, shall we say, relatively easy. For the ability to give service to others is everywhere. One may volunteer in soup kitchens, hospitals, all sorts of places that need help. When you feed a hungry stomach, you know that you have been useful and of service. But never forget the more subtle kinds of service that come from the heart that loves unconditionally. When you can listen to one who is in deep confusion and respond with unrestrained compassion, that is another way of showing love. And again, it is impossible to do unto the self be cleared of all those bits and pieces that don't fit into the living of a life in love and faith. Meditate each day, my friends, and ask for the presence of eternity to be all about you, all the day long and all through the night. We are told by this instrument that we have once again gone over time. We do apologize for our loquacy. We are most thankful for this instrument, for there was a very large amount of difficulty that this instrument was having, and we are so pleased that we were able to use this instrument, Carla. We of Hatan would now close the meeting through the one known as Jim. We leave you in love and light. I am Hatan.